Hello, metaverse singers out there in the virtual metaverse. All right, we got to get this cracking on all platforms so that we're not just live on Facebook. We're actually live on YouTube and we're live on IG at the same time. Awesome. Okay. So now that I see what I'm doing, I can take these off. It's like you get old and you need the glasses to read, right? It's okay. You don't need glasses to sing, right? Let's talk about your body for singing. Your whole body is your instrument, guys, not just this. And if you follow my content, you know that I am always saying that. So if this isn't just your instrument, if your body is your instrument, then it follows that the way we use our body, that didn't sound good, but you know what I mean, don't use ourselves. The way we use our body and live in our body, not just when we sing, but day to day, also has a huge effect on what we're able to create with our voice. So one of the things that I speak to my singers all the time about is understanding what are the habits that you are in your body that you may or may not realize, because these are habits that actually get in the way of what you need your body to do to make sound. And they could have to do with habits that have nothing to do with what you're doing when you're singing, but just habits in the way you use and live in your body just on the day to day. Okay. So there are two habits that I see that most commonly affect singers just in general. And you also, look, if like you were working with me in our program, we would identify all of your specific habits, but almost every singer that comes to work with me in our intensive training program has one, if not both of these habits. So that's why I want to talk to you about them today, so that I can give you some tools to start addressing them so they don't continue to affect you in ways that you're probably not even realizing. And I'm wearing my yoga clothes today so that I can show you how to address these things. Okay. So the first habit has to do with how you stand and how you use your lower back that affects the amount of air that you're able to bring in. So as you know, the lungs are in the back, right? Our lungs stop here in the front because our ribs stop here. The ribs protect the lungs, but the lungs go all the way down to here in your back. So you need to have a lot of access to this back body. And if you're crunching in the mid or lower back without realizing it, you're actually cutting off a large amount of where you could have capacity in your lungs for breathing, for singing. So let me show you what that looks like. And I, was like, this suffered in my body. I suffered with this for a while before anybody pointed it out to me. So if you have a lot of tension in your lower back, in this kind of part of your back here, okay, what happens is you end up cutting off a lot of this lower air capacity. So, the way it lived in my body, because I started as a dancer before I was a singer. So if any of you are dancers out there watching this, I think you'll probably relate, especially if you were a ballet dancer. But dancers are taught to pull up, right? Dancers are taught to tuck and pull up. And so for me, when I wasn't dancing, my relaxed position was this. So I would be tucked up, and then when I wasn't dancing, I wanted to be here. But do you see what just happened? And like for a lot of people who have lower back stuff, for me, what was causing tension in my lower back was that I was going like this, But for others who have tension in the lower back for other reasons, you're still crunching in your lower back and you don't realize it. And what that does is it creates a shortening of the psoas muscle. So guys, the psoas muscle starts in the front and it kind of goes through and up and it connects back here. And if you have tension in the lower back, in order to protect the lower back from, if you have lower back issues or injury or whatever, you can end up shortening this psoas muscle. And so what would be a lengthened psoas muscle is now contracted to protect the lower back, kind of in a compensatory way. And now you end up with a tight lower back. So one of the things you can do if you have a tight lower back that's absolutely necessary is to release your psoas. And I'm going to show you how to do that, because if you have tightness in your lower back, then you're not able to fully expand down and allow the lungs to be able to open and receive the maximum amount of air back there that you are built to have for talking, singing, for whatever. Okay. So first thing, release the lower back by doing a psoas stretch before you sing. So a psoas stretch can look like a few things. First, it can look like a runner's stretch. So you can do, I'm taking my slippers off. So you can do a psoas stretch where you are 90 degrees. You do not want to go forward like this, guys. You want to be 90 degrees, and you will feel that right here. This is a typical runner's stretch. I do this every time before I sing, before I warm up, before I have a big performance. And you want to hold it for maybe 20 seconds, and then you're going to do the other side. So you can start by putting your hands down. You'll feel it, but if you really want to feel it, keep your 90 degrees and put your hands up and lean back just a little bit, and you will feel it right here. If you don't want to do it on the floor, you can also put your foot up on something like this. Like you could put your foot up on a table or something, and you can move forward, and you'll feel it here as well. So number one, psoas stretch for releasing the lower back so that you can get as much air into the lower back as possible. Now, sorry, I was like stretching and like, okay. I'm curious, how many of you, if you're watching, deal with lower back stuff? And whether you realize it or not, it's actually affecting your singing. I'd be really curious. Hit me in the chat if you deal with lower back stuff. And then I want you to try this and let me know, because after I've done that, I always feel like my hips drop and I feel much, much less crunch in the lower back. So try it and hit me in the chat and let me know. Like, pause the video, do it right now. Pause it, do it, and then let me know how you feel. Okay, second thing that I notice in terms of habitual use of the body that's super counterproductive to singing is what I call a closed heart space. So that looks like this. Okay, so if you look at traditional way that people are taught to engage with their body, it's stand up straight. So what do? You go, huh, right? Stand up straight, right? And so now you have like a ton of tension. And yeah, you might be straight, but you have like locked and over controlled and tense. And that's not going to allow for the free flow of air and energy and sound that you need. Okay. And so most of you are told to stand up straight because what you're doing is you're closing the heart center. And, profile, what that looks like is this, right here. And so when you do that, what happens is, let me move back. These ribs, when you're in a closed heart center, watch where these ribs go. Now these ribs are impeding the lungs and the muscles of support that you need in order to sing. So, but if you stand up straight, now your intention the other way, okay? But one of the things that actually is making the heart center close is the weight of the head. So the head is very heavy bones, right? Your brain like weighs a lot, okay? And so for us, if we're here, I'm not like intentionally trying to like do this, but I don't want to really support my head very well. And so I kind of go like this. And so that of the head, now heavy weight of head is moving down and forward and contracting the cervical muscles of your spine and pulling you forward. So one of the best exercises that we can do for that is if you put your fingers here, and here, I'll do this in profile for you so you can see. Okay, let me tilt the screen. So you're going to put your fingers here, and you're going to gently push back, and then let it go. And you'll notice when I push back, do you notice how this lifts gently up. My ribs pull up off the muscles of my abdomen, and they tilt up off of my ribs. When I'm in habit, they go like this, and they contract downwards, cutting off the bottom of my front lungs, okay? So to be able to do a few of these, you can do 10 of them in a row, take a break, gently push in, and then let it go. And do them you can watch yourself do it in profile, video yourself, and you'll see the difference between when you're here and where you are versus when you go. Like, everything lengthens. And the reason that's so important is we don't want to cut off air down here. We don't want to cut off energy of sound by going here. Okay. So the way that we use our body is absolutely essential to the sound we're able to create. And it's the way that we need to start habitually using our body when we're not singing, so that we're able to do it in the moment of singing, in the moment that counts. Because if you're only ever present to it in the moment of singing, it will never become a new default. It will never become a new habit in your body. It will always become something that you're fighting. So I tell my singers all the time, start to check in with yourself. What are your habits? Is your habit, when you check in, if you're just standing in line at the grocery store, is your habit to be here? Head, right? Like closed, head forward. Yeah. Or is your habit the opposite? Is your habit to over control and do the thing that we were just talking about, which is to do this? Now you're all tight and you're all in tension. You know what I'm saying? So these things matter because your body is an energetic vessel for the sound that you're making. And it is the thing that was created to make the sound that you can create when it's in its most optimal energetic flow. And so all these things prevent that. So we want to get present to it. Let's see, what else do I want to tell you? Well, I'm curious, if you're watching live, put in the chat for me where you experience difficulties in your body, where you tend to experience tension, or where you tend to experience habit. Are you present to habit? Do you feel lower back? Do you feel tightness, in your cervical area here, in your traps, in your scalenes? Like, that's a dead giveaway that you're here a lot without realizing it. Yeah. Type into the chat, because I have some other things, and I'm happy to give you a couple other tools for whatever your specific issue might be. But I actually want to invite you to something that we're doing. I'll put my glasses on now because I want to make sure I get the link right and the date right. If you want more like actual bespoke training on a lot of this stuff, I'm doing a free 5-day training workshop, guys. Free with me for 5 days online on all this stuff. We're going to do breath support. We're going to do body stuff. We're going to do process to performance, meaning how do we take what we're learning in exercises and put it in the context of a song? We're going to talk about making a song your own. We're going to talk about how to be consistent so that you're not just able to do things in practice, but then when it counts, it flies out the window. So we're doing what I'm calling the Vocal Powerhouse Accelerator. You're already a powerhouse, but we need to accelerate that by giving you some tools. So this is free, guys, because I can't tell you how many times people write me and they're like, but commenting on one of our videos, but I don't understand this, or can you do that, or can you show this or show that? So guys, I'm literally giving this away to you starting on February 26th, 2 weeks from today, Monday, February 26th. Here is the link, putting it in the chat. Okay. This is the link to register. Again, it's free. But do not treat this as free. This is thousands of hours and dollars of training that you would otherwise have to invest so much money and so much time in to get from me. And I'm doing this because a lot of you guys, you don't understand how to train a different way. You think you're doing it, but you really need our guidance to do that. And I want to show you that there's another way to train. And I want to actually give you evidence of it and show you what that looks like and feels like, so that you don't go back into all your other modes of practicing and training and think that you're doing it right. And then just creating more suffering for yourself, wasting more time, wasting more money on stuff that's not working. Okay. So I'm going to sit down. Oh, so what I put into the chat starts February 26th, and it's 5 days, an hour a day with me. and I'm going to give you exercises. We're going to talk technique. We're going to talk mindset. We're going to talk how we integrate the two. We're going to talk body posture. There's going to be Q&A. There's going to be hands-on coaching where you get to sing, and I'm going to, work hands-on with you for those who are able to do that. And it's all online because we can. So the link to register is in the chat. There's no obligation. It's just, you can register there and show up and do it and get the goods. Because if you're not able to do what you want with your voice, there's just nothing more frustrating. And I'm just so tired of you guys suffering from these things, and talented singers who are really serious suffering from these things because they don't know how their body is sabotaging them, because their training is not teaching that. They don't know how their habits of the way that they just live in their own body are getting in the way. And so even though, their teachers might be giving them, your teachers might be giving you good technique, you can't employ it and you don't understand why. And you're super frustrated. It's because nobody's taught you these things. And I'm so tired of you guys suffering from that. So that's why we're doing this free workshop. And if it goes well, maybe we'll do more. I don't know. So register, go ahead. The link's in the chat, and hopefully I'll see you there. Okay, guys, work on your body, get present, learn what your habits are. And I'm here to help you if you want it. Bye, everybody. Have a fantastic day.